Call the Affordability Committee meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. Tonight we have one public meeting. There's one public meeting, and if you are joining the meeting virtually and not yet registered and wish to speak, please email cityclerks@barrie.ca and staff will email you the information to participate virtually. The public meeting is to review an application for a zoning bylaw amendment submitted by Innovative Planning Solutions on behalf of Cal Park Arda Road Incorporated. Subject lands are known as 324 and 328 Arda Road. Members of committee will be listening to the presentations and comments received during the public meeting, but will not be making comments or debating the items tonight. Committee members will have an opportunity to provide comments when the staff report is considered by general committee at a later date. Interested persons wishing to receive notification of the staff report can sign the notification form at the back of the council chambers or by emailing cityclerks@barrie.ca. Michelle Banfield, Executive Director of Development Services, would you please confirm that the notifications were conducted in accordance with the Planning Act for tonight's public meeting?
Yes, Chair Harris, it was.
Thank you. That brings us now to our first public meeting, and I will now call upon Adam Fiorni, Innovative Planning Solutions, to provide the presentation concerning a zoning bylaw amendment for 324 and 328 Arda Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's public meeting, and thank you for attending. My name is Adam Fiorini, a planner at Innovative Planning Solutions, and I am joined tonight by my colleague, Nick Scarat. IPS has been retained by the client, Cal Park Arda Road, Inc., to submit this application for zoning bylaw amendment for the lands municipally known as 324 and 328 Arda Road in the City of Barrie. The purpose of this public meeting is to formally introduce the application and our intent of developing the subject lands for residential back-to-back townhouse dwellings. The subject lands contain two parcels of land, 324 Arda Road and 328 Arda Road, as pictured on the screen, and have a total combined area of 1.21 acres and a total frontage of 58 meters along Arda Road. Specifically, the lands are located along the north side of Arda Road, south of Auburn Court, and west of Stony Brook Crescent, east of Neva Road. There currently exists two single detached dwellings on the subject lands with associated garage structures, both of which are to be demolished through the process of this application. Access to the dwellings is found on Arda Road through two residential driveways, which are also to be removed. The lands hold an irregular parcel shape, with 328 Arda being shorter in length than the elongated 324 Arda parcel. The lands are centered within an existing residential subdivision comprised of largely single detached dwellings, with commercial uses servicing areas near Highway 400. I will now summarize the existing land use designation and zoning afforded to the subject lands with existing permissions. Firstly, the lands are designated neighborhood area within the City of Barrie Official Plan 2024, which generally encompasses a wide range of residential uses and would permit the proposed development in its entirety. No official plan amendment would be required. Through the City of Barrie Zoning Bylaw 2009-141, the lands are zoned single detached dwelling first density R1, which generally permits lower density residential uses and thus would not encompass the proposed development. However, it is important to note that the proposed development occurs along a growth corridor and meets the official plan density requirements while providing additional housing variety within the neighborhood. The contemplating housing variety is presented through the proposed 51 residential units across 3 blocks as shown on screen of 4.5-story back-to-back condo townhouses. Included within the development will be 3 amenity areas, 1 to serve each block. Additionally, a private roadway and associated landscaped areas will be provided with a total of 73 parking spaces, all at grade. The next 2 slides demonstrate proposed renderings for the development, showing regard for streetscape features while providing the appropriate setbacks to allow for integration and transition within the existing community. This rendering demonstrates an example of the amenity area to be provided within the development in between 2 blocks of the proposed townhouse dwellings. As aforementioned, the neighborhood area designation broadly permits a range of residential uses. As such, the proposed development conforms to the official plan with no amendment required. Also important to note, Arda Road is classified arterial within the City of Barrie official plan. However, through this application for zoning bylaw amendment, we are intending to rezone the lands from single detached first density, R1, to residential second density, multiple dwelling, RM2, which is supportive of townhouse units. Also proposed are a variety of site-specific exceptions, which will be presented on the following slide. However, it is important to note that many of these exceptions would be removed through the passing of Barrie's new contemplated zoning bylaw, currently in draft version 3. As demonstrated by the development concept, the proposed development has taken into account an efficient and compact design. The requested provisions would allow for this functional design to operate while maintaining the general intent of the requested zone. They have been numbered on the diagram for ease of reference. It is of our opinion that the properties represent an underutilized parcel of land, and through the proposed development, we'll see an optimization of both the land and the singular access point along Arda Road. So to summarize, the lands are within the City of Barrie's built-up area. They are located within an existing residential subdivision. They meet the policies of growth along arterial roads. The proposed development respects the existing low-rise character of the neighborhood while providing appropriate setbacks to surrounding uses. It utilizes and promotes existing services and provides for a functional design contributing to residential housing market needs and city growth projections. Furthermore, to support our application, there have also been several studies conducted. All studies have determined that this project is feasible and functional based on Barrie's new OP and the new proposed zoning currently in draft 3. A list of these studies are as follows: functional servicing report, geotechnical report, hydrogeological investigation, environmental site assessment, photometrics plan, and traffic and parking brief. Before we conclude, it is important to know that we have reviewed comments received from the public and NVCA. We believe that these comments have been carefully integrated into the design to offer a housing type compatible with policies and neighborhood character, offering growth opportunities for attainable housing variety. That concludes my presentation for this evening, and I would like to thank committee, staff, and all residents for attending this public meeting presentation. Nick Scarat from Innovative Planning Solutions will be available to answer any questions you may have regarding our application and this proposed development. Thank you and have a great evening.
Great, and thank you. I will now call upon Riley Anderson, planner from the Development Services Department, to provide an update on the status of the application.
Good evening, Chair Harris and members of Affordability Committee. Planning staff are currently completing the technical review process associated with this application. In addition to the memo provided to the Affordability Committee, here's an update regarding the status of the application, comments from the public, and the primary planning and land use matters being considered. A neighborhood meeting was held on May 5th, 2025, with 20 attendees, including Ward 6 Councillor Nagusi, the applicant's consultants, and planning staff. Members of the public provided comments related to the following matters: concerns with increased density, concerns with the proposed height and perceived loss of privacy on neighboring properties, protection and preservation of existing mature boundary trees, concerns with reduced landscape buffer areas and development setbacks, and concern regarding the proposed parking ratio and increased demand for on-site parking. The application is currently under review by planning staff, the city's technical departments, and external agencies. The primary planning and land use matters being considered by staff at this time include compliance with the provincial planning policy and city's official plan, appropriateness of the requested site-specific provisions to the city's zoning bylaw to accommodate the proposed development, integration of the proposed development concept into the existing neighborhood and conformity with the envisioned development and character of the area, ensuring that any shared boundary trees and private vegetation is protected from proposed development activities in accordance with city standards, confirmation that the proposed development can be supported by existing and/or planned services and infrastructure, and the impacts that the development may have on traffic operations and pedestrian safety. A detailed analysis of these considerations and site-specific site-specific provisions will be provided when a staff report is brought forward for general committee's consideration. Staff will continue to work with the applicant to address feedback received through the public consultation process, as well as comments raised through the analysis of these applications by technical staff and our agency partners. A staff report providing a recommendation to general committee on the proposed amendment is anticipated to be brought forward in the first quarter of 2026. All submission materials and key dates, along with my contact information, are available for viewing online on the city's proposed development webpage under Ward 6. This now concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Great, thank you. I believe we still have no folks registered for online, okay. If there are any members of the public who wish to provide comments, please approach the podium and begin by stating your first and last name and address for the record. Okay. Looks like we have no members here who want to speak to this. So I will now call upon Ward 6 Councillor Negussi. Do you have any questions of clarification?
Thank you, Chair Harris. Thank you, Adam, for presentation. I'll have a few questions. Probably for staff, goes to Ms. Banfield. The height and density, Ms. Banfield. What planning rationale supporting the proposal increase in building the height from 10 meters to 15 and the floor area from 60% to 122% increase? And how do we this change align with the city official plan objectives for growth, housing diversity, and neighborhood character?
Through you, Chair Harris, to Councillor Negussi. So the proposal is requested to be about 4.5 stories, but it's important for people to know that the actual zone that it's proposed to be turned into, that RM2 zone, actually permits a building height of up to 20 meters for walk-up apartments. So even the increase to the 15-meter height is still less than what a walk-up apartment could be in the same zone. So the height and the density, everything that the applicant is asking for is under review. They have submitted a lot of plans and studies and reports to support the justification, and staff will take a look at everything that they've submitted and see if there's any sort of amendments or changes to make sure that the development is as good as it can be.
Okay, thank you. So the setback and straight cap, how will the reduced front yard setback and porch encroachment affect privacy, sunlight access, and the overall step cap appearance? Probably that goes to the presenter, or, yeah, Adam. Or...
Through you, Mr. Chair, to address the comment about front yard setback and the porches. In the OP talks of building locations and framing the municipal street, the setback that's required under this zone is 7 meters. We're proposing a reduction of that to help increase the interior amenity space within the development to provide for more landscaping, as well as there's a development just to the west of this site at 340 Arda Road that was permitted to have exterior side yards, which is the front yard on Arda Road, at 2.6 meters and porches at 1.7 meters. So through that previous approval, we felt that this type of development setback is in line with that future streetscape of Arda Road.
Okay, follow up. Can they given the increased density and reduced setback, how will the design ensure adequate fire and emergency service access in the compliance, with the Ontario Building Code?
Through the chair to answer the question. As part of our submission package, we take into account all the building code and fire access routes accessible to this site to ensure that the design is functional. Through the design review process with the city staff, it has been indicated that the fire route access is meeting requirements for safe housing.
Okay, the other thing is about the waste management. Moloch, Earthbeam, who will be responsible for the collection, maintenance? Is it going to be the city, or who will be responsible for that?
Through the chair, Moloch systems are sub structures that are about 3/4 of the way under the ground. So they're a little bit of a more superior design than a traditional garbage enclosure. Those would be serviced by private pickup and not municipal services.
And the other thing is snow storage. I couldn't find where will the snow, will be stored. Is it on site? Is it? I don't know. So is there any plan for snow storage?
Through the chair, yes, snow storage is required to be provided on site through the development review process. Those would be located outside of landscape amenity spaces and in locations that do not impact proposed vegetation.
Thank you. And the other thing is, will this development provide any affordability, attainable units, or is it condominium, rental? What's the plan for that?
Through the chair, at this time, we're proposing condominium for this form of development, and through that and the variety of housing type our goal is to make these units attainable and variety for this established neighborhood. At this time, we don't know if those will be affordable units or the layout at this time until we get through detailed design through site plan control.
Okay, thank you. One more question to Ms. Banfield. Ms. Banfield, can the existing municipal infrastructure, I know a resident reached out to me from Nava Road. They have the water concern. The current infrastructure will accommodate the additional 51 units in the area, or do we need any, upgrades requirement on that?
Through you, Chair Harris, to Councillor Negussi, that is one of the items that is under review. The engineering report that was submitted with the application is being reviewed by city staff. Typically, in the grand scheme of things, though, 50 units is a pretty overall low unit count, so I'm not necessarily anticipating any issues in terms of capacity, but that is definitely being taken into account at the city staff level review.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Neguse. Without having anybody else in the chamber looking to speak to this, if anyone has any further written comments, you can submit them to Riley Anderson, City Planner, at riley.anderson@barrie.ca. Now move to, there's no open delegations, no presentations, standing items or committee updates or deferred items. That takes us to reports of advisory committees. There's one advisory committee report to be received, and that is the report of the Heritage Barrie Committee dated October 28th, 2025. And there are no reports to committee, no items for discussion. And that takes us to adjournment. This concludes the Affordability Committee meeting. This meeting is adjourned at 6:19.